Pro at Who's Number One. Thank you guys for tuning in as the ongoing coronavirus continues on. It carries on, but we're excited. We're very, very excited today to have special guest Marcus Buchecha Almeida, 13-time world champion, joining us today. Thanks for calling in, brother. Also on the call, we have Ricardo Amendolia, Bear from Showy Roll, and my co-host and friend here, Michael Sears. Buchecha, what's going on, man? Where are you right now?
I'm here in California. What's up, guys? First, thanks for the invitation. Pleasure to be here with you guys in this conversation. Right
Absolutely,
now,
man.
I'm at home, California. Nothing else to do, so here inside.
You were telling us you just came back to California. What was happening there? Where were you before? And what made just extra lame that you had to come back to California?
No, actually, I that's my home. That's where I live. But I was enjoying like my vacation, let's say like that in Brazil. So, and unfortunately, I had to start training hard again to compete. And no, unfortunately, I mean, it was time to train hard to compete, to train for the worlds. And this is just starting going on, and I was without knowing what to do, but they just cancel or change the date. So
What
it's getting crazy, huh?
what was your reaction? Because obviously you would have been going for a 14th and 15th world title at Worlds this year. What was your reaction when you saw that it was canceled?
It just got canceled yesterday, right? But we knew like
Yeah.
before that should be canceled or postponed, something like that. But my reaction, I think, was the right thing to do because we never had something there in the history, so nobody knows what's really gonna happen, how long we're really gonna take to everything go back to normal. And before any competition or any tournament, we gotta think about like to solve that problem, right? The whole world, not just think about ourselves. So I'm just trying to do everything that I can to make it get back to normal as fast as possible.
If they were gonna do a Worlds in say like July or August or something, would you want to do that Worlds or would you just wait until the next one? What do you think you would do in that situation if they were gonna move it back to a later date?
I don't really know, like it's hard to say because right now it's not something that okay gonna happen in June. It's gonna happen July, August, or December. So we I can't. It's it's easier when we have like a schedule. Like I know when's gonna be the words every May, June. So it's easy to plan my whole year, my life. But like that, not just me, but I think everybody's just lost. Not just the fighters, but business owners and the whole world. All the business are like breaking down the small ones. So it's not something so simple like, oh no, I'll fight or I'm not. So I really worry about like my family in Brazil and worry about everything. So it's hard to say. I don't know how it's gonna be ahead. So it's something hard to answer right now.
Fair enough.
You've got an interesting relationship with Bear. You guys just got sponsored by Showy Roll a couple years ago, right? It hasn't been too long. How long have you guys known each other?
Bear, you better got that one. We know each other for a long time, but I let him talk first about that.
Buchecha, well, we know. Shit, I've been following Buchecha since he's been like a purple belt smashing like everybody, and then, of course, he's like we were training at the same big like team, so we would always see each other at team trainings and stuff like that when I would kind of pop in to see who's the next kid from Brazil that's gonna smash at the World Championship. So we know, I know Buchecha like a long, long time before we even had like we've had like a friendship before we've ever had like a sponsorship. We were just fans of him as like this like young kid athlete that was like going through divisions, and then I think every year at purple belt, brown belt, we're like, hey, Buchecha, one day. But of course, like we wanted to
That's
give him like one gi as a sponsorship, and he's like, I need like 50 gis. I'm like, like so and so's giving me 50 gis a month, and so I was like, we can only afford to give you like one gi per month. We're a small company, and so I was like, one day maybe we'll be able to like get you. It's like, yeah, one day we're still friends. And then, long story short, he's like, I was like, it came along, and then we were able to like put together something, and we finally able to like work together. I don't even know, it's like 4 years, 5 years. Us and Ruka got together, and you said, hey, let's talk with Buchecha seriously, and let's get him behind both brands, and it makes sense. And we all believe in the same thing. We all have the same vision. I think it was just kind of like a really, really good match. We wanted it to happen a lot sooner, but but it happened, and now it's been great. So we're just stoked.
All right, so
Yeah.
Ricardo, you got anything to
You
add
guys
here?
don't believe. You guys don't believe in that part about the 50 gears, right? You guys don't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sears, don't let these guys fool you. They've been hanging out while Buchecha was sponsored by other brands. He was hanging out at the Shoyroll headquarters, asking Bear for advice on different branding and stuff like that. Everyone goes to Bear to get the inside scoop.
Exactly. Bear is the mentor.
You know what I mean? That's it. Let's
Hey,
not give him
hey,
too much credit, Buchecha. He's
Hey,
still talking to me.
any athletes that are out there, even if you're not a part of the Shoyroll team, if you need to work a better deal with your sponsorship, Shoyroll is always giving free consulting advice. That's what it is. Buchecha.
That's true.
Buchecha.
That's true. Maybe
Yeah,
we end up
I know
on
for
board.
me-
Who knows?
I know for me personally, like, Buchecha, I met him back in 2010 in Abu Dhabi. Remember that? And I first got introduced to him by Jake McKenzie. I think we went to go eat at like Kentucky Fried Chicken or something, just because there was like nothing around. And he was like, "Yeah, come my buddy Marcus, come and eat with us." I was like, "I don't know this guy, but sure." And then the next year, I saw him at Black Belt. I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's good." You know what I mean? So I've known about Super Mario Buchecha for quite some time as well. Maybe not as close as Bear, but he's been on my radar too.
It's been a long journey, like over 10 years. We're getting old.
Yep.
That sounds old.
Man,
No, I think the funny thing is like what I think most people don't understand, right? Like in this whole game and in this whole world of sport jiu-jitsu, it's like, I don't know, we've been watching it for probably roughly like 20 years hardcore, like as geeks, and like sponsorships, athletes, friendships, relationships, what you're getting, what you're not getting. It's changed a lot, like compared to even what it was 5 years ago, and it's really, really hard for athletes to get like, one, to get whatever they think they deserve in this sport for what they do, but then also what the sport does and how it evolves and changes over time. That's every 3 months, So a lot of the times, athletes are listening to their coach, their friend, their advisor, whoever that is. But in all honesty, like I think, and Buchecha probably like share more of this because he's learned a lot probably in the last 5 years as compared to like when he didn't have like this network of people that he counts on. And it's just like I think really it's just trying to like find good people to give you good advice in this like sport, whether you're with one team or another team, just try and our team or somebody just to give you like good advice, as opposed to just take this, take that, take this, take that. Like everyone's giving you advice, but you're not sure on what the right advice is at that time. And I think Buchecha has always done a good job, 5 years, 10 years ago, on just like really trying to figure out how he's going to plan the future of his career, being an athlete. So.
Buchecha, we just had a crew come down and film you in Brazil. We're kind of, maybe I'm spilling the beans in this a little bit, but we're working on a big project with you, a long form film. What was that like? What did you show the guys when they came down to visit you?
Oh yeah, that was a good thing that happens. Like doing something about. I never had something so deep about myself, about my childhood, about my city, my beginning, and I think it's been really nice. So I took them to everywhere pretty much that I did during my whole life in Brazil. So where I trained the persons that was had like big influence about my jiu-jitsu career and my life as well, and the best spots in Brazil. So a little bit of everything, and it was really good. So even me, I'm really excited to see the whole thing done really soon. So can't wait for that.
You mentioned your biggest influences in your jiu-jitsu career. I think an obvious one would be Leo. Maybe describe a little bit like what it's like having Leo as a head coach and how he's influenced you so far in your career.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I got the black belt in 2010, right? But I've been working with Leo almost the whole time that I had the black belt, so it's the one that I'm working together with the most time. And Leo, man, is like who knows Leo in person knows what I'm talking about. He's like a special person, and he's a great mentor for not only me but for the whole Checkmate crew. Everybody takes his advices, and he's a person that it's really good to have him around. So he helps not just on the mats but off the mats too, and he's really wise with his thoughts and his wins. So it's unbelievable, and of course on the mat, man, it's every day. It's a learning and learning with him, and everybody feels like stupid because oh my god, how come I never thought about that? And he showed like so simple, and that's how I feel every day training with him. So be right next to him, it's the great thing. And he always laughs because every time after the words I look at him before hugging him after the final match, Leo, I'm done, that's the last one. Then he started laughing. Then he said, you say that every year. So we have like a lot of like stories together, so it's always funny to be around with him too, in all good ways.
Do you think that his style, his jiu-jitsu style, has sort of influenced you? Because, like, for instance, he's a smaller guy. He competed like lightweight and 66 kilograms at ADCC. You're a bigger guy, but I consider you out of the ultra heavyweights to be somebody who's sort of, not saying this in a bad way, but sort of has like a small guy's game, like really technical, good guard. You're not just like somebody who has to get the takedown and get on top. You can play good jiu-jitsu almost like a featherweight, but you're just a bigger person. Do you think having a smaller coach has influenced you in that way?
I think not just like not specifically about the game, but one thing that Leo always tell everybody is you're never gonna be remembered by the titles that you win, but the way that you fight. So be excited, like be an exciting fighter. Like don't be a boring fighter because titles people okay gonna remember 1 year, 2 years, then you're gonna be forgetting. Like look how people still talking about him. Not just because of the titles that he got, of course it is too, but by the way that you fight, that's how you're gonna be remembered. So that's something that he always told all of us, and I think it's true, and that's how I think. That's why my mentality when I go is to kill or die. I don't really wanna go there and do like a boring match. Like 90% of the fights nowadays, jiu-jitsu is so boring because of that. People just wanna win and forget about being put like a great show and give that to the public as to the spectators. So that's how I think. That's how he influenced me about the way that I fight.
Man, one of the this is kind of a small personal story, but a long time ago, Leo Vieira did a seminar at Studio 540, a free seminar, and I was at that. I think it's 2014, 2015, maybe as a blue belt. But you were also there, Buchecha, and I was blown away because I don't even remember what was being shown, but you were drilling the move, and Leo was like working through it with you. You were doing some corrections. You were asking him questions. I thought, man, this guy's like one of the best of all time, and he's still looking to his coach. I just thought that was like one of the coolest moments to see that happening right there on the mat next to me. He just seemed like he was a wizard. I don't know. He just had so much knowledge to give. It was really cool for me.
Yeah, man. Like I still remember about the positions that he was teaching at the seminar.
Really?
And I was me, him, and Bernardo, and every time that we had the opportunity to train with him to do like a seminar, we go, and it's always something that helps us, you know. And it's still every day I feel like exactly like that class, because like right now we don't do competition class. Like people say, oh, what time is the competition class? There is no competition class. We just go at 10:30, Leo's class. You know, that's how we train for the words. There is no like, specific training for all the black belts. No, we just go there, everybody together, white belts, blue belts, black belts, and that's how we do. We learn, do the traditional class, front rolls, back rolls, and that's it. No like specific thing. And I think that's why we're still doing good, and that's no stressful. You know what I mean? So we just go there, learn every day, and still doing it.
Checkmat has a great next generation coming up. Some good color belts and young black belts. One of them that I'd really like to hear your opinion on is Mateus. Mateus obviously had an unbelievable first year at black belt. Won by submission in the world's final. What's Mateus like as a competitor? What do you think makes him so special?
Man, it's hard to say about that kid because once I trained with him for the first time, I knew he was like something special. I don't remember what belt he was, like brown belt. But as soon as I trained with him, I never felt like a kid with his weight so powerful. I remember like he almost breaking my knee with the De La Riva because of like so much strength and pressure on the legs. And being honest, like if I don't go hard with him, it's hard to beat him on training. You know what I mean? So I have to really go like 100% because the kid is really good. And because he's like so focused, and when he's thinking about to compete, I think he puts 100% of his energy and his time, everything on his focus, and he make it happen. I mean, when he was training to fight the worlds, I remember one crew went there to like do an interview with me, and when they were done, they were leaving. I said, "Hey, do an interview with the kid." I said, "Oh, why?" "Because he's gonna be the world champion." "Ah, how you know?" I said, "I know for sure, 100%." Then the person did the interview because I made them do it, but after they came to me, I said, "Oh, you were right." I said, "I knew it," because you can tell when like somebody really gonna win, not by the way that he trains, by the way that he is, by the way that he look, by the way that he is in the tournament. So I knew since like a long time before the tournament that he would be a world champion. The kid deserves, and he's just beginning.
Is there anybody else, like maybe not on Checkmat, any other up and coming like young new black belts, anybody that really impresses you out there that you've seen, somebody who's maybe got their black belt in the last couple of years, so you're like, oh, this guy's going to be really special? Anybody stands out?
Man, I always say people ask me a lot about that, who's gonna be the future. But like two kids that I always say that back in the day, since when they were purple belts, I was saying that is Roberto Jimenez and Jansen Gomes from Checkmat, and Roberto is from Alliance.
Yeah,
That's the two kids that I always think that is gonna be the future of the sport. Like,
yeah,
if
Roberto's
you
gonna.
gotta ask me one, oh,
Oh, I was gonna say Roberto's gonna love to hear that because he was on here the other day talking about how you're like his hero and all this. But Jansen's
no,
somebody. Jansen's really a really special athlete. Talk about Jansen a little bit.
man, Jensen, it's the closest one that I saw rolling and have like Leo's game, because he trains so much with Leo, and if you watch him rolling, like it's kind of like a new Leo Vieira style rolling, because he's like so calm. And when I roll with him, he feels like he's not even trying, because he's like so relaxed, so loose, and thinks so fast. And the kid's something special for sure, and his results is talking about itself, because
Yeah,
like he's winning pretty much everything. He just won the world champion last year, right? So now he got a new belt. So the kid is special for sure.
yeah. Anybody out there, if you don't follow the color belts, check out Jansen Gomez, the guy Buchecha just talked about. Like you said, he's very loose, very exciting. He's definitely not somebody who's fighting for points. He's just always going for the finish, always pushing things forward. He's very, very exciting to watch. Ricardo, you've been pretty silent up there. You have anything to add? Any questions?
No, you talk about Roberto and Jansen stylistically, they're very similar to Buchecha, and I think that that's one of the reasons why people enjoy watching Buchecha compete. It's because, like he said, he goes for the kill. He goes there, and it's still nice to see that in the sport in a time where people, tangle up lapels and make this boring as shit match, and that's not what's going to bring this sport to the next level. People want to see excitement, and they don't want to see two guys just playing with collars or like double guard pulled and like looking at the time and like looking at like that's not what and it's I don't want to be one of these old guys that say like, oh, back in the day it wasn't like, but at the end of the day, like, got to do something. So I think at the end of the day, like, we could change the rules. The athletes are always going to play into the rules, but I think the athletes need to kind of go there with that attitude to kill, So it's nice to see that guys like Buchecha are inspiring the younger generation now to go there with that attitude. So it's a pretty cool thing.
And that leads into the next thing I wanted to ask him, because he mentioned earlier that some people are making fights less exciting. Obviously, people are going to game the system and try to play to win. Not everybody's going to have that mindset. What are ways, this is something we talk about a lot, Buchecha, what ways do you think they could sort of tweak the rules to force people to be more exciting, do you think?
Man, IBJJF is doing a great job because, of course, they want to get rid of the boring fights. But people, like Ricardo just said, they're going to find a way to play with the rules. So it's sad because it's not just about the rules. People going to find a way to make that happen. So we got to keep changing, but it's something that is, you got to be from the fighter, but people just go there and they want to win no matter what and do like a lot of boring fights, and because the rules give them this option. So I think we gotta pay attention more in the rules, maybe change a little bit, maybe I don't know, try to like reduce the time. We have like to try new things because the way that it is, man, being honest, when I'm at the World Sunday, I can't even watch because it's so boring. I'm back there warming up and looking at the fights, and you can't. It is true.
It's
I can't
the
watch.
truth.
Imagine
It sucks. It's so boring. 10 minutes is the most boring shit to watch ever in jiu-jitsu, and someone that tells you not, they're fucking lying. It's bullshit. That's the truth.
People want to exciting fights, but you want to see like a good fight, like explosion. It's not gonna be 10 minutes. People gonna save it for the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So 10 minutes, it's a long time. But imagine if you have to watch that on TV, 10 minutes of the boring fight. It's not gonna happen. I wouldn't. I don't watch. I don't remember last time that I put in YouTube and I watch a 10 minutes fight. Like, it's true. Even my fights I can watch like sometimes because it's boring. So. I don't know.
Is there any?
Do you like the 6 minutes?
So that's a great point. That's coming from a fan. Buchecha is giving it to you from a fan's perspective. That's
exactly. I'm not talking about as a fighter,
right? But then
exactly.
if you flip
if
you flip it and you ask the same questions to Buchecha as an athlete, if you have 10 fights that you have to fight, or 3 fights that you have to fight, like, you have to be smart with it, right? So athletes play the rules, right? So it's like, shit, if you have to fight 90 minutes, you're probably only going to fight like 2 minutes of the fight. So until the rules change, or the time changes from 10 minutes to, let's say, 8 or 6 minutes, the athletes are just going to play within that. So it's like, it's a hard position for athletes to play in,
Shout out to Jackson Souza. Jackson's in the comments right now. Your teammate from Checkmate, Jackson Souza's in there commenting.
Direção!
Hey, Buchecha, is there any positions that you feel people take advantage of to sort of stall things out? Like, do you think there's too much 50-50, too much lapel, anything like that?
Man, 50-50, lapel. Lapel, I think, is the worst nowadays because people really use that. And a lot of people talk about lapel and talk about 50-50. Then people is doing 50-50 with lapel. So
yeah, like, that's the worst.
Where are we going? Like, but what's the point? It's not for submission. It's not for sweep. It's just for stall the fight. And it's like, clearly everybody can see that, but like the rules don't change. So allow people to do that. And like we're talking about 10 minutes is being a long time. So imagine like the ADCC final, 30 minutes of nothing. So what's the most like boring fight that I had in my life? 30 minutes of nothing. Why? Because like people saving energy for the last minute. So I think make no sense long fights, like long time, because jiu-jitsu is not about that. That's my opinion about.
We've talked a lot about some of the things we don't like about.
Hold on, Bear. What do you got to say?
No, same thing. Like, and there's tweaks in this, but very simple. Me and Buchecha have talked about this before, right? 6 minutes, let the guys go, let them go crazy. You know, now they can go a little bit crazier and try and like use stuff. And then at the same time, you take away something that's so subjective. If you have points for side mount, simple, like the lapel thing goes away. Like you could play with the lapel, you can
Yeah,
jump
exactly.
something, you can get back on top. Until you get on the side mount, that lapel thing meant nothing. You know, so it's like that's just one rule thing. I'm just saying at the bare minimum, make fight 6 minutes so we don't all like have to fast forward through all of our friends' matches. You know, like you could keep the rules the same. Just make it 6 minutes. It's just like the board. It's so boring, dude. Like the fact that all of us pretend like we could watch 10 fights at like 8 minutes or 10 minutes, like jiu-jitsu is so boring, dude. Like, and I'm the biggest fan in the world. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm here talking about as a fan, like, and I remember back in the day, like 2012, 2013, World Pro was 6 minutes and paying a good money. If you hold the position for 10 seconds, the referee was giving you penalty. Like, it was like no joke. And it wasn't like, oh, if you move one hand, they like reset. No, it's like foul penalty, and they force you to fight for real. I remember a couple years there, if you hold like the fight for a couple seconds, you're getting a penalty or you're getting like something, and was like exciting. I remember some years were really exciting, but then change the referees, then got boring again, so it's hard. But I remember, I think 2 or 3 years was like great, because like was like right before the wars, 6 minutes. Imagine if you wanna like pull guard the guy, sweep your leg and start with 2 points. You have like when that happens in the wars, I look at the clock, the guy like could be on the mount on me. I said, man, that is like 9 minutes and a half. So that is like plenty of time. I can do like the guy can be mounted here for 5 minutes. I still have time to get out and try to do something. That's how I think when I'm fighting. But 6 minutes, if the guy get 2 points, then you gotta watch out, because when you blink, it's like no time to go after the result. So 10 minutes is too long. It's boring. Like when people invite me to call, like, oh, you wanna do like a no time limit match? I said, for what? For be like 2 hours, both guys holding each other. When somebody get tired,
Oh
okay,
my
that's me,
god,
you got it.
so bad.
Never you're gonna
so
see
bad.
no time limits fight
I'm not a fan of the no
because
time.
of that.
Bad.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about things that we don't like about current competition formats, but Buchecha, who are some fighters that you really admire? I think I know a couple names that come to mind here, but some guys that you like to watch fight, you know, who bring the energy that you admire. Who are some people that you enjoy?
Man, like of course, I like to watch my friends. You know, a lot of guys from Checkmate, because I train with them, so I know how hard they train and how hard it is to me to train with them, like Panza, Jack, Adam, and like Finfo, all these guys that I train with from Checkmate. I like to watch when competing, and of course, with from all my team, I think the one that I like to watch the most is Leandro Lo, Preguiça. One of my favorites of all time to watch is like Rodolfo Vieira when he's fighting, and Lucas Lepre. So that is like, of course, Malfacini. There is like a lot of guys that I really, really like to watch. I think that's the ones that I like to. The ones that I just said is the ones that I like the most.
You mentioned Leandro and Preguiça. Something that really interests me is how the three of you guys get together and do training camps and stuff, and you're from different teams. How did you guys end up becoming friends and starting to meet up and train with each other? Because you're all from like different cities and everything, but how'd that come about?
We know each other since a long time ago, and we fought against each other like a lot of times. And actually, Leandro was like closer to Preguiça, and that's how we end up like getting really close. And to get together and train, I think was last year, because we supposed to we fought the same event in Brazil. It was the BJJ Stars at the time, and everybody we were not fighting against each other, so why not to train together and get ready? So I think it was a good training camp for everyone. We trained together, and it was really good. So it was a really good experience. And but before training together, we were friends and we hanging out for a long time. But we decided to train just like last year for real to do like a camp together. And it was really good. We did in Preguiça hometown. But with Leandro, I do more often because we live in the same state. So from São Paulo to Santos is like 1 hour drive. So it's much easier. Preguiça, we have to catch an airplane, and it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, obviously you're great friends, but you guys have fought each other in some big matches over the years. What's it like competing against Leandro? Like, what's it feel like when you're out there competing against him?
Man, a lot of people ask me that in seminars. So, how is to fight your friend? So that my the way that I think it is, like me and Leandro, we always in opposite side of the brackets, right? Me and Leandro or Panza or all the guys that are my friends, and when we are in the same bracket. So, what's the right thing to do? When I'm the same final and Leandro is the same final, of course I wanna win, but I'm gonna look at him and I wish my friend to lose because we don't have to fight each other, so I don't have to do that. So we don't have to fight against each other. Of course not. So when he's fighting, I want my friend to do his best, and of course in getting the final. And when me and him get in the final, so that's the best thing. It's a win-win situation. Of course, if I beat him, I am a world champion, and I beat my friend, the guy that I admire, the guy that's my friend, the guy that really know he deserves to be in the spot. And if I lose to a guy that, for the same reasons that I would be happy when I win, I lose to the guy. So no matter what, we're gonna celebrate together the same way. You know, I mean, of course, if I win, I'll be happy, and if I lose, of course, that's somebody that deserves the spot. That's somebody that can carry the responsibility to be a champion, because that's bring a lot of responsibilities when you are world champion. So I know that's the guy that deserves to be there. So that's how I think. Instead of the guy that think that's the trash talking, the guy that thinks that being like a you know uh let's find a good term to say here, but you know what I mean, the guy that don't deserves to be the spot. So I rather always to fight my friends in the final because of that than to fight somebody else that don't really deserve to be there.
Yeah, but like Leandro as a competitor, like, are you when you're going up against him? Is it just like, is it? I mean, he's got a basically impassable guard. He's got a really good guard. He's got a relentless guard passing. How does it feel like competing against him, like compared to other people? Is it just really tough or what?
Man, of course, when we fight is never the way that is in the training, because when we train is even worse. I remember a lot of people, oh, okay, can we go there to film you guys training? Yeah, after the train, the guys like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? You guys gonna kill each other, you guys gonna get hurt. The competition is like in 2 weeks, and then we say like, no, that's how we train. So when we go to the competition, it's not worse than like I got hurt a couple times training with him. He got hurt a couple times training uh, against each other. So it's something that we used to. So, but we just fight in front of everyone. But we fight like that every day during the training when we train together. You know what I mean? So, but of course, because we train so much, I know how hard it is to train with him and to fight against him. So, in my opinion, that's the hardest fight that I had. It's in a long time. Like that's, of course, was Rodolfo, and now when I find Rodolfo is the hardest fight that I have for sure, 100%.
That leads perfectly into another question I wanted to ask you. What was it like competing against Rodolfo Vieira? I mean, obviously one of your biggest rivals in your career, and had some great matches with him.
No, for sure was the biggest rival, and it was like something hard. Rodolfo is for sure one of the guys that made me to be where I am now, because that's the guy that I used to dream with. Every time I was training, I was thinking about him. A lot of times when I was kind of overtraining and people say, let's go train Friday, like, oh, I can't move. Then I open like the internet and see like an interview of him saying that he will be a world champion, I say, oh my god, no, I gotta go training. And there was like during a lot of years like that. And I remember I'm on the every time in the words I'm on the left side and he was in the right corner before ending the match, before of the final match, and the whole place yelling, and I'm looking at him and he was like terrified just like me. And that was something that I remember before every fight, because we fought most times the final of the open weight. So it's something that was people never gonna know what kind of pressure is that, and we passing through that a lot of years, and I, we shared this moment together. So it's something that it's impossible to forget. So it was like a good time of my career to share these moments with him and to fight under that pressure. People nowadays like talk like stuff in Instagram, talk bad stuff in Instagram, think that's about pressure. They don't know what's pressure, so I just laugh.
Yeah, Bernardo told me in an interview one time that Rodolfo's pressure literally made him feel like it was going to break his neck one time. He said,
Oh yeah, we are friends and we teach a lot of seminars together. And man, sometimes like, yeah, we should come here, let me show a move. Like no, I don't want to, because like he's showing the move with the shoulder pressure is something that's like just explain the position feels like he wanna like pop your head out, and it's unbelievable. So he still got it, the pressure. So when I'm watching him in UFC and he takes the guy down and dubs on bottom, that's done. It's literally done, because he's not gonna lose the position, just like he did in the last fight.
When you would go to fight Rodolfo, would there be anything about your game plan that you're like, man, I cannot let Rodolfo get to a certain position or something, or I can't let him? What would your game plan be against him?
Man, like, of course, I knew he couldn't get the half guard. It's like I remember one time interview a long time ago. I told like people who plays a half guard never gonna beat Rodolfo. Then a lot of guys get mad because, hey, how come you talk about that? You play half guard. I said, yeah, that's why I changed my whole game. After 2011, I stopped playing half guard, and I started playing like upside down guard, and I started working like in different guard kind of stuff, because half guard is something that it's impossible to beat him with. And that's why I changed my game. So I knew he couldn't get the half guard and couldn't get like good grips when he's standing. Of course, I always try to avoid that. But I knew sooner or later he would get in the fight. So I was ready to escape. I was training a lot of specific training to escape half guard in the worst position when he was like with underhook, with the head control. So I had to train that a lot. And of course, I trained like my stand-up game, because I knew he was much better than me. So I had to train both situations. That wasn't my best. And that's why I said like he made me change my game. He made me go out of my comfort zone. And that's why my game got so much better.
You mentioned you were watching Rodolfo in the UFC. He's undefeated right now with an amazing streak going. How important is it to have jiu-jitsu representatives winning it in MMA? There's a lot less guys going that route now. There's more money in professional jiu-jitsu. But it still always makes me very proud to see someone doing jiu-jitsu at the highest level in the UFC. Is that still very important as a martial artist to represent in the UFC, or are the two paths different now?
I think it's not just about money that he's doing that. He has the dream, and he has more just he's a real fighter. That's how I see him, and that's how I see myself too. I fight with the gi, I fight with no gi, and I want to fight MMA too to test myself. That's a real fighter is. You don't put like, oh no, I just want to play my game. I just want to play with the gi because I'm good at it, or no gi. So you never leave your comfort zone. So how come you can call a fighter? So you're not a fighter. First of all, you are a grappler. If you're a fighter, you go there and fight. Like, you know what I mean? So that's how I see it. Rodolfo does that. So he did everything, and he's testing himself, not just because of money. It's something bigger than that. He want to test himself as a fighter. So that's how I see that. And of course, there is more money. Jiu-jitsu is, of course, is like much better now. It's still get money, but I think in the end of the day, UFC, if you go all the way, if you like make a good record, if you can make it, of course you're gonna make a good money too. So I don't know his reasons, but that's how I see it. That's how I think why he fights. It's not just about the money. You gotta fight for the right reasons. That's how I see it. That's how I do in my career. I just fight. When I fight nowadays, I fight for the right reasons. You gotta find the right reason. Doesn't matter what you do, not just fighting, but in your life. If you're doing for the wrong reasons, you're not gonna be successful. That's how I see it.
Guys, I got 2 questions that I want to throw at Buchecha here. Number one, when you were like coming up, like blue to purple belt, who would you kind of say that you were inspired by, or was there somebody's game that you tried to model your game after, or I know you and I mentioned about Margarita. Was there anyone else from kind of the older generation that you really looked at and kind of inspired you as a competitor?
I mean, I think the guys that I watched the most was Jacaré because of the explosion, and like the Marcelo Garcia, Leozinho, Roger, Xande. I think that was like Margarida when I really started training. So I think that was like the biggest influences that I had in my game. I think this pretty much was the names.
Was there anyone that you kind of like studied their game and kind of modeled your game after, or do you feel like your game is kind of unique to you?
Of course, I never really tried to copy somebody's game, but I try to get like a little bit of everything. So I never really, oh no, I want to have my game exactly like his game. So that's why people said, okay, what's Buchecha games? Like, I don't know, because I do a little bit of everything. And I think that's how you gotta really be like ready for any situation. But I remember back in the day, I used to play a lot of half guard and X guard. So a lot of my game was like Marcelo Garcia. Still nowadays, a lot of positions that I do based on his moves, and Jacaré, because like the explosion and the speed. I think the most important was like these two.
And you talked about some. The guys are asking you about some of the toughest matches you've had. What do you think would be like your most satisfying? The match that you won that was the most satisfying for you, or the title that you won? Because I mean, we've seen you go, against friends, against rivals. We've seen you, so many different guys over the years, so many different titles. What title or what fight kind of stood out for you the most? And when you look back at it, it kind of gets you emotional or anything like that. What would you say was like your biggest match or title that you won?
Man, 100% was me and Rodolfo in 2012. That was like a life changer for me. That fight changed my life and changed my career, because I think after I win that, everything changed. And for sure, 100% was that fight. I think was the best fight that I ever had. Not just because I win, but it was a really good fight for real. Like we both fighting to kill each other, and that was like a real jiu-jitsu. Now was no stalling. 1 minute, I think was 8-7. Really tough guys fighting. To see 8-7 nowadays in the scoreboard, it's something that you don't see. And of course after that, my career changed. So 100% that's the fight.
Bear, you want to add anything? You got any questions over there?
Come on, Bear. You're not talking about anything. Come on, Bear. You're being too nice.
No, man, we're on camera
guy?
now. We can't. We're on camera now. We can't say all the stuff we say in the
sounds
office
a bit different
about,
now that the
about
camera's
whole
rolling there, Bear.
sport in the industry.
Just something in heart. Just something in heart.
You forgot to ask the FloGrappling guys. How come you've never been invited and this is your first time to who's number one?
Putting us on the spot.
Yeah, that's something that we spoke. What's the name of the show, guys?
We're calling this who's number one.
Oh, okay. I think maybe when they change their name, they invite. I don't know who's the number one.
Maybe one day, Buchecha,
maybe one day when they think
you'll be
about
number
that,
one.
invite.
I think you might have to go
like,
win like a Long Beach Open or something, and then you can, you might have to
yeah.
be
I think you're right.
a top
Yeah.
ranked brown belt that's very active at all the Long Beach Opens and Nashville Opens, and maybe they'll consider you as a number one athlete in the
I'll be-
sport, So, or I'm
By
not.
the way, guys, that's my boss. That's my boss. There you go, boss.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't have thought you would have even wanted to come on. I was surprised when I heard that you wanted to come on. I wouldn't have even thought you wanted to do it. A couple.
No, I never got invited. How come? So I have to invite myself.
Hey, because you're not top 5 ranking, Buchecha. You just
Yeah,
fight at World
I think
Championship,
because I was in I was like low in the rankings. That's why.
if LeBron James is playing with college ball players, how's he going to be ranked top? Like you can't just come out for the championship NBA finals and get like an MVP every year. Like that's unfair.
So we've had a lot of fan questions for you here in the comments. One of them that popped up a couple times is people are wondering, are you gonna go after ADCC 2021, the next ADCC?
I don't know, man. Like being honest, ADCC was something that the open weight, everybody knows that I don't have this title, but I disagree with a lot of things in the last one, so I don't know. Something that I don't really think about now, but
Yeah, it's a long way away.
Huh?
It's a long time from now. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about the time, but it's more about the last edition. So I didn't agree with a lot of things, but so I don't know.
But I think that enters us into like a good point as well, guys. Like just on the sport and like culture as far as like titles and everything. And I think I talk with multiple athletes that have won multiple ADCCs, multiple world championships. At this point, it becomes like what's another title, or like what's important for like the fans, like for Buchecha to win another world title, for so and so to win another like ADCC championship. At this point, we're at a point in our sport where it's like if it's not an interesting fight, if it's another 30-minute wrestling match at ADCC, or if it's like another 10-minute world championship finals to watch Buchecha win another gold medal, like it starts to become repetitive. And like as like people that can kind of have a voice in the sport and the culture, which Buchecha of course is one, FloGrappling is one, and I would like to say that other big brands have like some say in the sport. It's basically up to us to try and help push the sport and the culture forward. And if we're pretending like it's like fun and interesting to watch the same shit over and over, it's like we're doing a disservice, So.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the last ADCC was pretty exciting. There's a couple instances, but yeah, I don't know. I think
dude, it was so boring. Like, come on, dude. Like one fight was
man.
good.
It was,
shit, you watched.
What do you think?
You watched like.
Tell me the truth.
20 fights is the most boring shit ever. Like wrestling for like 15 minutes, like poor wrestling, and like sometimes good leg lock entries. There was like maybe 2 minutes of like a 15-minute fight that was good, and maybe some fights that were great. I agree, Mike. Some fights, but 80% of them was the most boring shit ever.
Bear's hating on the wrestling because he doesn't do takedowns. He pulls guards. But in all honesty, we just want to see. Come on, Bear. Come on,
guys. Come on, guys. Tell the truth now. What do you guys think about the final, the open weight final?
With you and Gordon?
Yeah.
That was a long match. I have to say, that was one thing I kept looking at the clock.
No. I mean, not about the time. What do you think about the fight?
It's not the first Buchecha match I'd rewatch. I'll put it like that. It's not the one.
No, guys.
If you weren't pleased with the match, what do you think led for it to be that way? What do you think could have been different for it to be different in your opinion?
Man, first of all, I think it was the most boring fight that I ever had. This one with no gi, and the one that I lost, of course, but it's not because of that. But the one that I had against João Gabriel in 2017 or 18, the final, the worst final, I win, but it was the worst fight that I had in my career with the gi. And that was because I think this was, I don't know, maybe the pressure, maybe I didn't want to win the title. He wants to win the title too. The open weight was like something that we both want really bad, but we knew that I wouldn't submit him, he wouldn't submit me in in that fight because nobody would expose too much, and we would fight for 40 minutes. That was supposed to be. And but like I got a penalty from nowhere, and they just shortened the fight. I think even the referees couldn't watch it, so I said, you know what, just give like a -1. Let's finish that. I think that's how I see, because it was so boring, and that's how I see. You know what I mean? So
I think maybe it was just like you said, you guys were just too even of a match, because if you watch all of your guys' absolute matches before that, they were exciting. You guys both ran through your sides of the bracket. You killed everybody, and then you guys got there, and it was just two guys that were a pretty even match.
yeah, I mean, my side was worse, right? Let's say like that. Let's start like that, because he fought a teammate in the during the thing. But I think that's one of the things that I wasn't really happy about, that I was talking about. But yeah, we pretty much had like a hard fight in the beginning, but the final we knew would be like that. So
In all honesty, I think any rule set, ADCC rule set or IBJJF rule set, I would love to see all the best athletes that we're all fans of, like Buchecha, Rodolfo, Gordon, Keenan, whoever the Leandro, like you put them in a 6-minute format with the same rule set and just like let them go so they don't get tired after like 10 minutes of like boring fights for 15 minutes. Like they got to fight 5 or 6 times.
yeah,
They can't fight like 50 minutes. Like it's going to be boring.
yeah.
That's just how it is.
Man, when I shook his hand, I knew you would be like pushing each other for 40 minutes. So why I gonna go crazy in the first 5 minutes and I don't submit him? Then how? Guess what? 30 more minutes. You gotta do that. So like, make no sense.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. Like, people wanna see like a good show, but it's, man, like it's a long tournament. You fight 2 fights in Saturday, 6 on Sunday, and people expected to see like a great fight in the final. Everybody's exhausted. Like, people just, well, of course, I want to do the necessary to win. He want to do the necessary to win, and that's why the fight was boring like that. No matter how, like, it could be better, but I don't know. Maybe change the people. If you think about, okay, you just fight in the division, it's 2 fights Saturday, it's 2 fights Sunday, perfect. But and about the open weight, like, you exhausted, like, you tired, like, most of the guys that win the division, when they go to the open weight, they don't even like go, like, they don't even pass for the first round, because it's stressful. It's not just about the time, of course. But you train a lot. Yeah, we train way more than that, but put pressure, put adrenaline, put a lot of things involved. Everything changes. So it's not just about like you go there and do like 6 rows or 10 rows. And you never know how long the fights will take. Supposed to be 10 minutes, then becomes like 15 minutes, then sometimes 20. So it's hard.
Is a Gordon rematch something that you would want? Like, if you could do just a super fight with him or something, would you want another shot at that, or is it not something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, no, of course. Gordon's a great guy. We plan about to do the rematch, but like we put like something that I told him, like, hey, I don't do like a no time limit, because that's gonna be like the rematch of the DCC for real, because it's gonna be like we push each other, waiting like who's gonna get tired in the first hour or the second hour. Who's know? I wouldn't watch the fight personally. But so like, let's do something. I don't mind like no points, but we gotta put like time. You know what I mean? Because at least we know for how long we need to push. So that's my only concern when I spoke to him. And I think that's something that we can. It's a fight that makes sense for me. I would fight that fight. The rematch. But in the right terms, I think would be a great fight, but not the way that it was, because me and him, we could give like way better fight than it was. That's how I see it. Not just because I lost, I'm saying that, but the fight could be better. If like I'm winning or losing, but would be like a better fight. That's
Is there anybody else that you would like to have a match with? Buchecha, anyone on your mind that you'd love to take on?
Man, not really. Everybody that is out there, I fought pretty much. So, and that's the last fight that I lose. So I think would make, like, if you ask me who I want to fight, that would be like makes more sense in him. But everybody else, I fought pretty much everyone. So whoever is like stand in front of me and shake my hand, let's go. I don't mind who it is.
Fair
So
enough.
That's how I see.
from what I see in your career, the last few years, you've pretty much stuck with the IBJJF major titles like Worlds, and done ADCC. And I think one of the biggest differences, would be the heel hooks. Would you be open to something like a time limit of like a 10-minute match if it's one super fight, IBJJF rules, but with heel hooks? Personally, I think that would be the best thing because that's what like Grappler's Quest used to do back in the day, made for exciting matches. It's similar to the style that you're competing in, but it also gives people freedom to, go for these, leg locks and also create more scrambles. Do you like that rule set at all, or do you think it needs to be
Yeah,
something more
no,
like, yeah,
no, for sure. I don't mind about the rules. Just like we were talking, I said I don't mind. I fight no points, submission only. Any rules, any like heel hooks, a lot, of course, but with time, makes sense. You know what I mean? That's how I fought to Roger first time, Metamoris. No points, but 20 minutes, submission only. So back in the day, people talk about rules, so I was doing like submission only fights years ago, back in 2012. So I don't mind to do that now. You know what I mean?
and what happens if it goes to a draw? Let's just say if it's a sub only 20-minute and it goes to, or 10 minutes and it goes to a draw. Do you prefer, like, if there's no submission, do you prefer a judge's decision or do you prefer a draw?
It's hard to say, man. Like if you put a good money, if you put like good money and the rules and you explain, that's not gonna be a draw. People gonna fight for real. If it all depends of the interest, if you put like a good pot for who wins and who gets the submission, get more money, something like that, you got exposed. When you expose, or you do it, or you made a mistake, and that's how you end up you winning or losing. That's jiu-jitsu. But if you play safe, if you hold, then that's gonna be draw. So you just gotta make sure that something makes the fighters a reason to fight. Otherwise, it's gonna be a draw. So then if you say, okay, 10 more minutes, referee's decision. So I don't know. I don't know what would be the best thing, but maybe draw is a draw. Like people who go, of course, it's gonna be a draw. But people who watch the fight is gonna see who was really trying to fight and who was really avoiding the fight. So it doesn't matter who gets the arm raised in the end. Everybody will see. You know what I mean?
All right, Ricardo, we're an hour in. Let's go to your clips now.
Yeah, Buchecha, I know I mentioned to you that we wanted to go through a couple matches here and, just get your feedback on them. So this one, was with you and Herberth. This is probably one of the best Herberth Santos we've ever seen in years, technically. And he was coming out pretty aggressive here with the takedowns. He was able to kind of, get you down towards the edge of the mat.
You guys almost took out Chase right there. Right there, Chase.
Yeah.
I was there to make it.
There's
Well,
Chase, yeah.
Why you didn't hold me, man? Why you didn't help me?
I tried. It was too much.
Okay,
And by
so
the way, that was
is,
out of the bounds, huh?
No points. No points, yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is like when I see a lot of your matches, sometimes like you don't, like you might get scored on or something might happen, but then it's like a fire's under your ass and then you come back super hard. So at this point,
people still.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
People still think that making me mad is a good idea. I don't know why.
right here is that.
Oh, you see, that's not good. Every
So,
time
like,
that
you
people
went for
make
the
me mad in the fight, they don't get,
Yeah.
I don't feel pressure. You know what I mean? I just like it. So
Tyler, can we see that takedown again?
Yeah, because like you look like you're pissed at that point. You went for like a the double
I
or the
was
single.
for real.
Yeah. So talk about that body lock, and you tripped, and you almost mounted you for a second, then you ended up on top. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, if you see the beginning of the fight, that was something that I always complain with my teammates because I got so much speed and I got the body lock and we were going out of the bounce. So when I see the yellow, I had to turn and push it in the direction to the center. But my idea was to do like a perfect suplex. You know what I mean? That was my idea. But my foot is slippery a little bit, and I couldn't. I slip it, then I bring him right on top of me. But I wouldn't like, of course, stop. So I knew I could like turn, and I didn't let go the body lock, and that's how I ended up getting the takedown. But I think I put so much strength to do the takedown, and I just slippery and end up on bottom. But I had time to fix it and finish on top.
Right here,
Did
you
you
made
feel like
Buchecha angry.
Yeah, you see, I touch, but you see, I pushing, then I had to change direction. That's how a lot of people do that mistake nowadays. And another thing that I would add, we had a really good referee on that fight. That people nowadays, they just stop. They would see, they say stop, and you can't stop. Jiu-jitsu is boring already. If you stop every time that something is going on, we're never gonna have fights. So he knew something is about, like, that was one of the best referees that I ever seen. Of course, there is a lot of good ones still working, but that's a really good one. And he knew. A lot of people would say stop and kill the
is that
momentum of the
Cabellino?
fight.
Is that Cabellino?
Huh?
The
Cabelinho,
referee is that
yes.
Cabellino? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He was
But
actually
you see,
Petr
we almost
Pano's
going out of the
instructor.
bounds. He gave us the opportunity to get back to the mat. A lot of people would say stop, and that's not about that. Jiu-jitsu, you gotta really let the fight go. It's a fight, you know what I mean? There is no cage to hold us, so we really need to know how to deal with that. A lot of times the referee need to let go a little bit. The fight goes on. Otherwise, it's gonna be stop, 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 and no fight.
What's it like fighting Erberth? I mean, back then he was sort of a different Erberth. What was it like fighting him?
Man, that's one of the most dangerous guys out there for sure. He's really tough, really strong, and I just see sometimes he like fighting lighter guys, and it's not a good idea. You know what I mean? So like he's some guy that is really strong and one of the toughest guys that I ever fought. So he's a dangerous fighter for sure.
All right, looks like up next, Ricardo's got an ADCC 2017 clip. What do you got here, Ricardo?
Yeah, you and Cyborg. Of course, you guys have some history. You fought at 2013, but you guys went hard on this match, and you scored some really nice takedowns on Cyborg. You see right there that upper body trip, gets him back down. Take us through that a little bit. Talk about like just the match with Cyborg. Maybe a little bit about your history with him, and what it was like fighting him in this particular event. I know when the brackets came out, you guys weren't too happy about it. I remember seeing you guys in Finland there, but man, it made for an exciting exchange at the end. You guys ended up getting 2 takedowns. So just wanted to hear your thoughts on that finals with him, or that match with him.
No, of course, we couldn't complain. No, I mean, I didn't complain about the fight because about the brackets because he wasn't the champion, I wasn't the champion. So Orlando was the 2015 champion. So of course he had a better bracket, and I knew we would have to fight like before the final, and that's something that predictable already. And of course, that's how I said about Gordon right now. That I want to fight him because I lost to him. So of course I want to fight Cyborg because that's something that you want to test yourself as a fighter, not just because I lost, and not just about the ego, but okay, I want to try to do better. So in 2013, I lost in the final for him, but in the same day, I won and I beat him once, and he beat me once in 2013. But it was the last time that he beat me in the most important fight, was the final of the open weight. And so I just want to test myself again. I want to see if I can beat him. So that was how my mentality on the fight. You know what I mean? That's how I was prepared to do like a war, because I knew how hard it would be to fight him again. And it was a great fight. It was like, could be like.
Can we go back and see that last takedown again, Tyler? Can you go back like 15 seconds or so?
Yeah, it looks similar to what you did earlier. It was like Cyborg kind of shot on you, but you didn't fully commit. And then right after you got up, bam, you kind of hit it on him. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right here, locked up.
Yeah, let me see.
So
Yeah, because I saw he was like I was winning at the time and was 30 seconds left, and man, like ADCC
oh
for you to score in 30 seconds is something impossible. So in my head was like, if he take me down, I will turn, I will give the back, I will defend my neck for 30 seconds, and I'm not gonna like tap. And so I was like really confident about that, and he knew like, and he knew it's hard. Even like when in our first fight, when I did a bad shot in the open weight final, I did a bad shot, and he got a good takedown, end up on my side. He scored 4 points. He knew the fight was done. So I had to expose myself, and I had to try as hard as I could, and I exposed myself, and he got like another pass. Then I keep fighting, keep trying, then expose myself even more. Then he got another pass, end up like being 10 points. So it was like the same situation. He scored first, I scored first, so that's why he avoids so much to get the points, because after you score the points, it's really hard to go after the points in the ADCC. It's different than IBJJF. In DCC, to score points in a fight, it's something really hard. So after I scored the 2 points and I knew it was like 1.5 minutes left, I knew I had the fight. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, you know what, I'm going to keep pushing. So I'm not going to give him space to try to find or give him more like hope for the fight, you know. So that's why I keep pushing to make it even harder. So that's why I end up getting like a second takedown and secure even more the fight. You know what I mean?
All right. So
But that was a really tough fight. Everything, all the points happens in the overtime. That wasn't in the fight. The first 10 minutes was like a war. We push each other. Cyborg is a great guy and is a great fighter. It's like getting older and getting better. So it's always a war fighting against him.
Up next, it looks like Ricardo pulled when you beat Nicolas in the open class this year.
Yeah, your favorite there, Buchecha, your favorite fighter,
Oh,
Nicolas Marigali.
man.
I want to talk about
New generation. The new generation.
No, but you did something
Oh
really
my
cool.
God.
You know, what I like to call the re-sweep. And Marigali, ends up kind of getting you to sweep, but you set up the underhook for the Lucas Lake
Yeah.
style half guard
No,
after. Can you
right
talk
there.
us through that a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, like right there. I could try to come up, but I knew if I come up would be an advantage. And I fight in that position, like you don't want to give advantage because in the end it can cost you the fight. So I rather was like similar against Pena. He got me the sweep. So you don't know what the referee gonna give you an advantage or not. So I rather let the guy get the 2 points and I have opportunity to sweep back than just like giving advantage to my opponent. You know what I mean? So after he got the sweep and I hit my hip on the mat, so I knew like, okay, so he might get the advantage. So I rather have him come up and I sweep him and keep the fight again, keep the fight going. You know what I mean? That's how I see. And people think that the big guys don't know how to play guard, but you know, I'm playing guard since my old days. So when people sweep, it's not done. I still have the
right there, Lucas Lake style, little coyote.
yeah, and that's the thing. That I think that's where I won the fight because I sweep him, see how much strength he's using right now. So that was part of the strategy. It's not just about passing the guard, but it's about making your opponent like. It's about taking all his energy, you know. So I got in a good position. Of course, he got me a good one. But after when I got the pass, I made him work. I made him push. So he had to like spend a lot of energy. In the end of the fight, that all the energy that I spent, because we fighting for 10 minutes, right, Bear?
Yay! 10 minutes. The most
we're
boring
gonna be
shit
tired
ever.
by the end. So in the end, I knew he would be like weaker because he had to spend like so much power pushing me. So I knew he wouldn't be so strong as the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, you see, it's like you're setting up your grips just as he's coming up. And I guess at that point you said that you didn't even know if they were going to get points or advantage, but you're in perfect position.
No, I knew as soon as I hit my hip on the mat, I knew I wouldn't coming up. So I
because he was going to give an advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like no matter what, I'm not coming up. So he came up to start to pass. Then I underhooked him and did the Lucas Leite.
Yeah.
And got the
Knee on the
sweep.
butt.
That's
You know what I
something
mean?
you see
So-
Lucas do a lot. Like whenever Lucas gets swept, he basically always lands right in that position. He goes right to the coyote. and
Yeah,
lays down.
exactly. Because it's sometimes it's not like about fighting and like trying to like avoid the sweep. Sometimes if the guy got the sweep, you know when he got. You're not gonna get lucky and just kick your leg out. The guy not just gonna let go the grip and end up on your back. That what happened. Most of the mistakes are like that. You know when the guy got you, when you know your opponent got you. So you just had to accept, but with playing a good guard, end up in a good position. I rather play just like I did, than imagine if I try to run out of the bounds and he jump on my back with one hook in. It would change the fight.
What do we got next?
So
Ricardo?
so it's a continuation of that match, and you did a really nice counter to the sweep. You were just saying, and sometimes you don't know if you can, kind of defend the sweep here, but you did an amazing job here. I just wanted to hear, at what point, what were you doing to kind of defend? He tried to get the leg up on his shoulder to come on top, and then you basically, boom, hipped out, and then you ended up taking his back. Like that to me was just beautiful to see. Just talk us through that a little bit. Like how much of that was something that you hit in training,
That's a guard.
instinct?
That's a guard pass, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's no, that wasn't a back take. Yeah, because I knew at the point of the fight, I I was with I was like winning, so nobody was exposing too much. So I knew sooner or later we would have to expose. So when I saw a good opponent, I tried to pass a couple times, and that's when he tried to stand up too, and end up grabbing like a guillotine, and that's when I spin to his back and end up on the side control. Yeah, after I got the side control and the 5 points, was like comfortable to try, like because was the end of the fight. So, but like I got the pass and I got the sweep. So 5
Who you-
points in a fight, it's something hard to go after. You know what I mean?
I remember I was sitting right there. You're pointing at Leandro at the end, right? Isn't that who you were pointing at?
Yeah. That was like
Did you
that's.
feel? Did you feel sort of here
Huh?
because like Nicolas had just beat your friend Pregisa in the match before? Was this sort of like revenge for Pregisa in a way as well?
No, not really, but I was watching the fight of him, Preguiça, and of course, Preguiça is my friend, so I was cheering for Preguiça to win, but Preguiça made bad choices on the fight and ended up losing, but he learned that lesson for sure, but it happens, so for sure I want to watch again they fighting, and I think we'll be different. Preguiça gonna get the win. But jiu-jitsu, it is what it is. Sometimes you made a bad choice and a bad mistake, and you gotta pay the price, and that was happened. But for sure, I was with Preguiça on that one, and it is what it is.
Or did you?
Then I had.
Or did you feel that way? Or did you feel that way, Buchecha, because the media saying he's probably who's number?
Oh, we
did
we lose Bear?
Are you
again,
sorry
say
about
again.
that? Sorry
Bear,
about
to
that.
cut you out here.
I'm sorry about that. I got cut off.
Yeah.
They're trying to cut off my feed.
Yeah. They cut you. They cut you, boss.
With some of that energy coming from the media and the outlets saying, this is the pound for pound best athlete in the world. He's probably better than Buchecha at this time.
Nobody
Was a
said
little
that
bit of
about
this
Nicolas
kinda
back
like-
then.
Come on.
Nobody was saying that
Well,
about Nicolas back then.
they're only saying that about him now. They're only saying that about him now. That he's going to be able to take out the pound for pound king Buchecha. He's got what it takes. Was a little bit of that energy because of kind of not even so much the media, just everybody kind of talking. So everybody.
I think Bear's the guy that's doing the trash talk here today. He's becoming the he's trying to
I
raise
think-
shit here. Come on, son. Come on, Bear. Chill out.
I think that's why. I think that's why they made the number. That's why they made up the number. Who's the number one? You know what I mean? No, man. Be honest. Like I said, people don't know what's pressure. Don't know what's about pressure. You'll be in the worlds in the open weight final. it's about pressure. And you know, if you've never been there, you can say that you know what's about pressure, like because you fought like a couple tournaments. Like pressure, it's to be in that spot. A lot of people think that winning a world championship is easy, winning a open weight is easy. It's not. But if you think about what is easy, always is the easiest one is the first because you have the pressure, you have the target on your back now, and then everybody's coming after you. So I'm walking around with a big target in my back for 10 years, so I know what's pressure. Something that happens before the fight, something's happening in the internet, that that's not pressure for me. That's not gonna get in my head, you know what I mean? So the media, they're talking, it's something that I don't even like thinking about when I'm fighting. I'm a fighter, so I
you
fight,
have
I don't talk.
Buchecha, you have one world championship or two world championships. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. That's cute.
No, yeah, I got a couple, you know what I mean? So I know what I'm doing. So it's just go there, respect each other. I'm a fighter, so that's what I do. And besides a fighter, I'm a martial artist. So I read the Bushido Code, so I know what it is to be a martial artist. So it's not just go there and talk. You gotta go there, fight, and really earn and show what is a black belt is about and what martial is about. And that's what I do. That's what I try to show to everyone, to the new generation. I try to be example. So if I have a kid, I know how I want my kid to have like example, a good example, not a bad example. So I always try to be a good example when I'm doing everything what I do on and off the mats. You don't need to be a good guy on the mat and to be like a dick outside of the mat. So you gotta be like an example on and off. That's how I see. That's how I see about the sport.
Ricardo, do you have any more clips lined up there?
Looks like we got Ali next.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're right into it.
Yeah, you guys fought a couple times before this. I think this is the first time you guys fought Nogi, and this is a bit of a different match, but you end up getting them with a similar sweep. Just wanted to hear your feedback on this and the setup that you did, and especially during that match in 2019.
No, actually, that was the second. That was the second fight. The second time that we fought. The first one was 2017, the ADCC. We fought for third place. And man, the strategy before the fight, Leo doesn't like when I pull guard. So I said, Leo, gonna pull guard. He said, no, keep the fight standing. I said, okay, but I don't wanna like spend too much energy. No, keep standing. You can take him down. Okay. As soon as he touched my neck, I never felt like somebody so strong. So I said, oh my God, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be pushing each other for 10 minutes against him because he's like so strong right now. And that's why I decided to pull guard. That wasn't my intention. He made me pull guard, by the way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was trying to stop him because Mohammed, I tried to get like a good positions, but he's too explosive, so it's hard to control him. So that was like a way to secure his leg. And when he tried to switch stance, it's something that I played my whole life, half guard. So it was like one variation of like the Coyote half guard, Lucas Leite half guard. And that's, I see myself in his position, like, because like Lucas got my back so many times like that. So I had to learn the hard way. So that's why I play so confident, the half guard, and I'm used to. And he did not a mistake, but when I saw he's like trying to switch sides, I could kind of read before what he was trying to do, and that's how I ended up getting the hook behind his leg and could push him away from me, and I could stand up and up on his back.
You talk about we'll go to the next clip there. That was great. I didn't know some of those details. Obviously, that was awesome to see. This is the last clip that I wanted to show. One of my favorite finishes, World's Finals against Evangelista. You ended up shooting the double here. Boom. You disconnect and you go for your folding pass, redirecting the leg. I've had the displeasure of feeling you just demoing the folding pass, and I thought my guts were going to explode. So I know that's something that's one of your go-to techniques. Talk about, maybe a little bit about your history with Evangelista and how things were different in this match and how you ended up getting to that finish.
Man, me and Ricardo is a great guy, one of my friends too. Respect this guy a lot, and I remember the only surgery that I had fighting against him because I got twisted. My knee got twisted in one of his best positions of course, by accident, but because of that fight, I had to stay away of the mats for pretty much 1 year. And since 2015, 5 years later, I never fought him, so it was like a really emotional fight for me because, of course, if you get hurt with somebody, you're always scared to fight that person again. Doesn't matter if you say no, but when you fight again, you always concerned. And I was really concerned about that fight because, man, if he close guard on me, I would be really scared to get hurt again. So it was like really a lot of pressure behind, not just because it was like the worst final, but there was this in my head too. Of course, I didn't want to win, but I didn't want to get hurt, and I knew Ricardo was with his knee really bad too, and he couldn't like fight 100% because he had an injury in the open weight. So you see, he was like a really like warrior because he fought all the way through the final, and even with a lot of pain on his knee. And before the fight, I was talking to Leo. Leo told me like try to double leg because if I were him, I would accept the double leg to close guard on you. Would be his best chance. So if you watch the fights right now, I always shoot for double leg, and when he closes, you see how fast I stand up to avoid his best weapon. That would be the close guard. So that's why I was always fighting for single and in and out because that's how I got hurt. That's how was in the close guard, trying to open the close guard. So that was my mindset. So that's why I got so many points because I was shooting, getting the points, but I couldn't get the pass or the mount or the back, and I was backing up a little bit. So that was my strategy. That's why I never had like the only moment that I really had a good secure position was this moment that I could get his back. But before that, he was fighting really bad. He was fighting really good. I mean, and I remember one point of the fight, the beginning. My plan was to get the takedown and to drain all his energy, like I was talking in the fight before, to end up on the funny pass and making him push me, making him spend energy. But when he was trying to do that, I ended up going straight to the mount. So, man, in 1 minute of the fight, if you look at the clock, it's like 9-0. You're not gonna like look for points. You have just one shot. It's gonna be the submission. That I knew he would try to do something like that. So that was when he lifted me and landed on the foot lock. So I remember he popped my foot, but was final. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't tap for a foot lock. I would rather like let break my foot, but so he had my foot really good. So I glad it was like the last fight, so I didn't have to fight again. And I ended up getting this position later on the fight, and like you said, finish on the folding pass, but passing fast and end up managed to get the back and get the submission and secured my 13th world title.
Great stuff all around, man. It's been really insightful watching you break down your techniques, Buchecha. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
No, anytime, guys.
Anybody else got any more questions for Buchecha before we get out of here?
Hey, I know a good question that's that like probably there's some insight on that. Me and Buchecha talk about it sometimes, but I think Buchecha can give a good perspective on like, and it's just a general question, but Buchecha, how do you think social media has like helped and also hurt like the newer generation of athletes? Now, of course, like they get recognized a lot faster through social media, through media channels, through sponsors, through friends to gain more popularity faster. But how do you think that's helped them and hurt them in like just training and like training long term? Because you're probably like one of the last people of that like last generation where you were kind of in between social media in the beginning of it, but then also came from a time where like you had to kind of like trust the process and kind of train as hard as you could for X amount of time without getting instant gratification of someone liking your photo from posting that you trained, or how do you think that's helped and hurt the new generation athletes coming up of the top guys per se?
I think like Stan Lee said, right? Big powers bring big responsibilities, right? So responsibilities, right? And that's how I see. That's how I see about myself nowadays. I never thought that would be like a example. I never thought that people would look up to me, but eventually that was happen. Like I get like a lot of message, positive message from newer generation, and I see how that what I do impact in people's lives, and that's why I always try to be a great example. So that's why you gotta be like a good example as a athlete, as a fighter, and I think the media has the same importance as the fighters. So whenever like a fighter give like a bad position or put themselves in a bad position, it's up to the media to create a villain or a idol. So it's a martial arts, and jiu-jitsu is about that. Like I said, is the Bushido code and big values and the real values of the sport. So I think the media, of course, was like bringing jiu-jitsu to a wrong direction, to the trash talking and to the UFC style. But that's not the sport. That's not what we fought for the whole, life. That's not what I fought for. I never gonna talk trash talk before a fight to sell a fight, because that's not gonna even change my purse or anything. People do that for likes nowadays, so I think that's a shame. And talking like change who you are, create a character to get more likes or get more followers. So the media has the power, so just depends of them how they're gonna use that. So I think now they really using, I think people realize that jiu-jitsu is not about the trash talking, about the bad part of the sport. We are not MMA, we are not UFC to make that. So we are martial artists, and now we are really, everybody's treating like each other as one. So that's how I see. So if you have the power, you have to use the power for the right thing. That's how I see it. Otherwise, the newer generation gonna, a lot of times they can get the wrong examples, like what's right and what's wrong, and along the way we can lose the self. So we can lose it. So what's gonna be right and what's gonna be wrong? So that's who's gonna say that is gonna be the medium with more access of everyone. So the fighters should do their part and the media should do their part, and I think everybody will be perfect.
I got one last question, Sears, if you want to go in.
No, I was going to wrap it up. What's your last question? And then we got to go after this because we're running out of time.
Last question, last one, Buchecha. What do you think the future of the sport is? And do you think it's like going to change a lot with, I think we're at like a time where, you know, if you use an example, Jay-Z, when he was rapping, after a while, he created Tidal and his own label. And he kind of like, the record company could only do so much in that time. Just like, you know, IBJJF is a federation, they can only do so much work, and they've done a lot of great work for a period of time, you know, and same thing with media and everything else. Like everyone's doing a great job, but do you think the sport is going to start to change, kind of like how Jay-Z created his own label and he created Tidal, and LeBron James creates his own media company, Supreme is selling bricks, you know, whatever the, like, do you think the sport as a culture, from athletes, the sport is going to start shifting to become like a lot different with this new generation? Or do you think it's kind of going to stay the same, you know?
Yeah, no, of course. If nobody do anything, we probably gonna keep doing the same thing. We probably gonna be like over and over. But I think we got a point with the media, with all the media that jiu-jitsu can connect. You see nowadays, everyone is doing jiu-jitsu. Everyone know what's the sport. So I think now is the time that we need to reach the next level. So I think it's about the time. How we're gonna do that, I don't know yet. But I think we're right there. I think everybody fought for their whole life. Everybody wants to have like the sport even bigger than what it is today. So I think we are in the right path, everyone. So I think I feeling that it's changing for better. So of course we all need to do our part, and of course I'm fighting for that too, because if the sports grows, everybody grows and everybody grows together. So I think that's the idea. Is going to be good for me, it's going to be good for you, it's going to be good for Flow, it's going to be good for everyone. So we need to make the sport go into the next level. So that's what I'm fighting for right now. So I don't want to be stuck in the same thing over and over along the years, because I'm doing that for 10 years, fighting, training, fighting, training, fighting, training. So I think we reach a point that, of course, a lot of people are going to still doing that, but people who has the powers need to do something to bring the sport to the next level. So that's what I'm focus on now, at that point of my career. I'm not retired yet, but that's my mindset. That's how I see the next steps for the sport right now.
Great stuff, Buchecha. Thanks for calling in, man. We had a great time having you on the show. Really enjoyed your analysis, and I agree. We're looking forward to building the sport together with the athletes to do new things. Bear, thanks for calling in. Ricardo,
Thanks,
thank you
boys.
as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow on another episode of Who's Number One?
Andre
featuring
Galvao.
Andre Galvao.
It's
Pretty cool stuff.
at 2:15 Eastern, I believe. So we got Andre Galvao. I mean, big 2 days for us. We got Buchecha calling in one day, Andre Galvao the next. That's two pretty big guys. Pretty crazy. But
Everyone at home, stay
Every
safe,
single
stay
day,
sane.
don't miss Who's Number One.
yeah, we have coming up a
Yeah.
bit. We have the next 7 days. We have shows. We have Andre Galvao. We have Lachlan Giles these next 2 days, and then next week we have who do we have? We have Hamilo, Bia Mesquita, Craig Jones, Kyle Terra, and Lucas Lepre next week. So we got a lot of big shows coming up.
All right, guys. Thanks again for
Nonstop.
calling in, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Who's Number One.
Thank you.